Welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Today we're talking about our brand new signing, Alex Mowatt, who's joined us from Barnsley following the expiration of his contract. So a free transfer, and we've got Barnsley's captain to join up with his former manager at Barnsley, Valérien Ismaël. If you haven't found out all you need to know about Ismaël, make sure you go and listen to the previous podcast episode, which was episode 49, where I talked all about him, what he's going to bring to the club, and what sort of style of play he's going to implement. But Mowatt's going to fit, hopefully, into that style perfectly. When we're talking about what he can bring specifically that we haven't already got in that midfield department, and it's an obvious improvement, let's be honest. And for free, you can't get much better than that. But if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, I'd love to see as many of you subscribing for the new season as possible. There'll be plenty of content coming up. Of course, the weekly podcast will be resuming very soon. This is just a little video to talk about Alex Mowatt. But if you want more videos like this during the transfer window, just let me know in the comment section below. And there'll also be some match day vlogs, fingers crossed, coming on the channel. So you'll be able to see me at the ground, at the Hawthorns, hopefully, if we're all allowed back in for the new season. So if you want to see all that, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and turn your notifications on so you never miss an upload. And make sure you're following us on Twitter, because that's where we get most of our updates and stuff from, so when I'm going to the matches and stuff like that. So follow that at the Baggies Pod. There's a link in the description if you want to check out our socials. It's on our link tree. But yeah, let's get straight into this video all about our new signing, Alex Mowatt. Let's find out what he's got to offer. Firstly, who is this Alex Mowatt chap? Obviously, he was Barnsley's captain last season and did a fantastic job. He's a 26-year-old centre midfielder. He played for Leeds at the start of his career, came through their academy, and then joined Barnsley after that. He captained Barnsley over the past 2 seasons, one of those being under Ismaël, so obviously they do know each other quite well. He was actually an essential part of Ismaël's system last season, which could potentially be implemented at the Hawthorns, and this could potentially be very, very exciting for us. I mean, he played a very key role in his system. It's not like he was just a bit part player and just the captain, so he was only there for a bit of leadership. He was integral to what Ismaël was trying to do at Barnsley last season. So he did win the Barnsley Player of the Season in 1920, not last season, but I think it's going to be a really exciting transfer. Obviously, the deal is a free transfer. He's become a free agent on July the 1st today, so having offered him the most lucrative contract, Barnsley, that they've ever offered a Barnsley player, he's decided to come and join up with Ismaël. So I think that's a really telling sign. I mean, obviously, perhaps this is his time to move on from Barnsley after having 2 great seasons, really proving himself at championship level. I'm surprised, actually, that some of the teams that have gone up, some of those newly promoted sides haven't tried to sniff around for him. I think he'd be a really useful asset. Obviously, he's proved himself at championship level. Could he potentially do it at Premier League level? We don't know. We might find out next season, potentially. But he's offered the most lucrative contract apparently ever offered a Barnsley player, but he decided to come to the Hawthorns and join up with his former manager at Barnsley, Valérien Ismaël, and he's becoming his first signing since joining. So yeah, it's just been a week since Ismaël was announced, so it's going to be fantastic to see whether he's going to be joining up and showing the same sort of vigour and fantastic play that he did at Barnsley. I'm sure they'll be able to link up, and I'm sure they'll be able to show their stuff as a combination. Really, they were very close. Alex Mowatt had this to say about the boss Ismaël, who obviously managed each other last season, which I think is pretty interesting. He said, "I've really enjoyed working with him. Training is intense, and he doesn't take any crap from the lads. That's shown in the games as well. All the players respect the gaffer. He's a big, scary lad." So yeah, obviously Ismaël is a large man, and he could come across as pretty scary if you get on the wrong side of him. So best is you calm down and respect him. As I mentioned, if you haven't seen the new podcast episode all about Valérien Ismaël and what he could bring to the club, I'm sure it'll be popping up around this corner at some point during the video, or there'll be a link in the description, or just check out our other videos and you'll be able to see it. And obviously that discusses all the elements of what he could bring to the club and what sort of style he's going to implement. Well, we'll talk a bit about that now, actually. So, as I mentioned, he slotted in at the centre midfield spot in Ismaël's system last season. Alex Mowatt did just in that midfield 2. It's a 3-4-3, so he's sat in the centre midfield there. I mean, he was creating midfield overloads out in the wide areas. I talked about that a lot in the podcast episode, how a lot of the shift came down. It's quite functional football, so it wasn't really pretty, I suppose. It wasn't, massively aesthetically pleasing, but he got the overloads in the wide areas, caused them problems, and I think Mowatt was integral to that, whipping those balls. He essentially came wide and just crossed, and then made things happen from that sort of area. So yeah, his crossing was a real standout for me. I think 5 out of 7 assists in the Championship last season came from crosses. 8 goals as well. 8 goals. I think 5 out of 8 goals of those came from outside the box. The rest just came from inside the penalty area. So potentially he's one on the cutback that you could look for if you're getting down the line and obviously creating those overloads. If you look back, you could find Mowatt in a world of space at the edge of the box. So he could potentially be finishing your opportunities from there, which is obviously fantastic to see. As I mentioned, he created those midfield overloads. I think he's going to provide a lot of grit, hard work and determination, like all the players are going to have to under Ismail. He's going to probably, as pre-season has started today, he's going to put them under a lot of intense pressure and a lot of intense training to get them up to the standard that they need to be to play his football, because it's not easy. As you said, as Alex Mowatt said himself, it is very difficult to play under Ismail. So it's going to be very difficult for our players to get that shift in momentum. I think they finally bought into Big Sam in the end and his fitness regimes, but I think this might be cranked up another notch, to be quite honest. But I think he's a gritted midfielder, hard work, determination in there, which is just what we need, I think. I think he does offer something a little different, because I think he offers a bit of a combination of he's almost a box-to-box midfielder, but he sort of adds a bit of ball-winning midfielder and a bit of playmaker in there as well. Of course, 1.5 key passes per 90 in the Championship last season, which is very good numbers for a player that tended not to get forward under Ismail, really. They played 3-4-3, and the 3 up front and the wing-backs almost joined as a front 5 at times, leaving the centre midfielders back. But as I mentioned, those cutbacks were so integral, really. Alex Mowatt coming in and cutting back and whipping the ball in, or shooting even from range, which is where some of his goals came from, as I mentioned. I mean, he's going to be a functional midfielder. He's going to provide some good legs, I think better legs than perhaps what we've already got. Of course, I think there's only 2 senior central midfielders at the club now, and that's Livermore and Sawyers. Obviously, Alex Mowatt to be in there very soon, of course, as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to what he can bring to the club, and I think he could provide a really different sort of atmosphere at the club. I think I guess he gets on with Ismail well, so it's going to work pretty reasonably from the start. So it's almost carrying. He's not going to have to adapt to Ismail's style of football, which is essentially what most of the players. So he could become teacher's pet very early on, really, Alex Mowatt. But I think it's going to be a good signing for free. You can't really complain. He's an established Championship midfielder, 26, so a few years left in him yet. And I think there's definitely going to be some potential in there as well. Potentially this could be the one to advance his game, but essentially I think most people said that he carried Barnsley last season. That's what I've heard from Barnsley fans, saying that, you know, he was one of the better players they've had in recent years. So I think that shows for me that he was an integral part of their team. He was always in the mix for getting involved in games and always being a part of the squad and being an integral part of the squad as well. If you think about 8 goals, 7 assists from the centre midfield spot, yes, fair enough. 5 out of 7 of his assists came from crosses, including corners and free kicks. So his delivery, I guess it kind of reminds me a bit of Chris Brunt, the way he used to in his recent years peel out Chris Brunt and notch those balls into the box from that sort of area. I think that makes a lot of sense to me, and I don't know what Ismail's planning on. I mean, the 3-4-3 looks to be his most effective way of playing football. I'm not sure whether that's what he's going to use at the Hawthorns, but potentially it could be. Alex Mowatt is already finishing these pieces of the puzzle, and there could be rumours of more Barnsley players joining up. I mean, yes, he's got better quality players here at West Brom, but potentially he's going to want to bring in some more Barnsley players, because that's what he's known and used to over the past year. Obviously, at Lask, he developed quite a good pressing system, and Mowatt was integral into translating that into Barnsley, because he's a hard worker, and I think he's going to be very good in the midfield. I think he offers something different to Livermore and Sawyers. I think he's almost Livermore and Sawyers together, with a bit of crossing in there as well. I think he's going to provide box-to-box ability, and he's definitely going to be a good signing for us. I think anybody can agree with that, and nobody's complaining, really. And I think a lot of people are really excited to see what he's got under his belt, because he's obviously a good player. Championship pedigree, 100%. And obviously winning Barnsley Player of the Season, seeing the reaction, because obviously Barnsley have confirmed he's leaving the club. And it's quite a negative reaction from Barnsley fans. You know, they're pretty upset about it. So, yeah, you kind of feel for them, because a lot of the key players after that season, they've really showcased what they're able to. I think Callum Stiles could potentially be on his way from Barnsley as well. And he played a massive role in Valerian Ismail's system, did Mowatt. So I can see him working out here. I'm really looking forward to it. I'd rate this transfer, actually an A. I don't think you can ask for much more. Not having to pay a transfer fee is exceptional. But, you know, joining up with Ismail, he's not going to have any system changes. He's not going to have any shocks to the system, really, about what Ismail's expecting of him. And I think it's going to be a really exciting transfer, and I look forward to seeing how he gets on at the Hawthorns. I think it's going to be a really good deal. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, whether you think he's good, whether you think maybe he's not the one for us. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. But that does indeed bring me to the end of this Baggies Podcast transfer update, and obviously Alex Mowatt, what he can bring to the club and signing video. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for getting involved. If you want to leave your comments about what you think Alex Mowatt is going to do at the club in the comment section below, I'd love to hear that, because I feel like he's going to have a massive influence, and I'm really looking forward to what he's got to offer. If you want to leave your thoughts in the comments, that'd be greatly appreciated. Follow us on Twitter for any more updates regarding potential videos, anything else that you want to hear. And if you've got any video ideas, I'd love to hear them in the comment section below. But if you're new around here, please subscribe. I'm looking to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, if we can really kick on with that, because obviously there's plenty more content coming your way, and lots of match day vlogs I'm hoping for if we're allowed back in the ground. And yeah, more podcast episode coming very soon. So if you're new around here, please subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss an upload. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Goodbye.